Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It seems that we have some crazy news. Now, this is going. This is still ongoing and wait to be talked about. I will try to keep up to date with this as much as possible and see what's been going on. But as far as we know, that this is an ongoing story, and we'll see what comes of it. We'll keep up to date. Also, there may be some more news about what's going on in particular, with the whole Twitter people that are on trial right now. So I'll try to cover that. I do have at least 3 videos that are run up. So here we go. It says this is a thread. The Project Veritas coup. A whistleblower has contacted me about the news that James O. Keefe was put on leave and stripped of all authority at Project Veritas. This is difficult for me to publish as a staunch supporter of Project Veritas for years and even a VIP at their events. But what is happening to James O'Keefe is unconceivable, and the attempted hostile takeover of Project Veritas needs to be stood against by its supporters. This will not stand. James is a bit of a victim of poor corporate structure, as Project Veritas has 2 separate orgs at 501c3, which had very few board members, and the majority of the dollars, and a 510c4, which had significantly more board members but less money. According to my source, the situation has allowed 2 alleged ringleaders of this attempt to push James out to have significant sway over the others, despite their reasons to be essentially meritless. Board members and C-suite officers involved in this, according to my sources, are as follows: board members Matt Terminated, ringleader John Garvey, George Sackhill, Joseph Barton, not the congressman, and Steve Elmbeck. CFO Tom O'Hara, and COO Bon Hinckley, ringleader, pronouns in bio. Okay, well, that explains a lot right there. Source: the board held a 6.5-hour struggle session versus James, where they subjected him to constant derision and insults. At the instance of Terminated, O'Hara, and Hinckley, about 10 employees about their grievances about James, which essentially boiled down to him being a tough boss to work for. At the end of this 6-hour struggle session, Terminated and fellow board members John Garvey put him on leave and stripped him of all authority. It was literally a silent kangaroo court trial. The thing that is so very profound to me is that no one seems to grasp John Garvey and the rest of the board did nothing to stop it. Matt Terminated had it all scripted, all 6 fucking hours. This comes in the immediate aftermath of Project Veritas' greatest moment ever, exposing corruption at Pfizer, which my source thought was extremely suspicious timing. You boot the founder right after your biggest win of all time. Peer Project must explain the situation. My source believes that with enough public support, James O'Keefe could win back support of the 501c4 board, so please RT and voice your support in a positive way. James O'Keefe has done more to expose corporate corruption than almost any journalist in modern history. If James O'Keefe leaves, I will no longer support Project Veritas and will support whichever adventure he starts instead. My source says that the rank and file employees are still with James. The board needs to realize Project Veritas will likely not survive if they go through with this. Yes, exactly. I 100% agree with this. For the most part, with going after with Project Veritas and all this other stuff, the only man, the face of Project Veritas, what I've known, was James O'Keefe. I did not look at Project Veritas. The only person that I saw with Project Veritas with just like James O'Keefe was obviously the founder, and then of course you have the company, which is Project Veritas. This is the problem that I have with actual board members and stuff like that that's going on, because these people have way too much power, and it's an issue that they just can remove you at any point in time, especially when you have a company. This is why I want to essentially try to avoid this whenever I get big, be as independent as possible. These people have essentially no capability or what have you. Is that this is the case? So we have obviously Barry Benjamin Hinckley, which is one of the people that was there. So this is the thread that's going on with this as well. We kind of get to see on what's kind of going on. We have New York Magazine, which I think is somewhat trustworthy, but this kind of gives a little bit more of an insight of what's going on. It says James O'Keefe is on paid leave on Project Veritas. James O'Keefe, the founder and chairman of Project Veritas, has taken a paid leave from the conservative nonprofit media organization as its board considers whether to remove him from his leadership position, according to current and former employees of the organization. An internal message sent to Project Veritas employees by the organization's executive director, Daniel Strack, said that James O'Keefe would be taking a few weeks of well-deserved PTO. An image of the message was shared by a source familiar with the organization's internal operations, and its authenticity was confirmed by a current employee. When reached for a comment on his personal cell phone, O'Keefe said nothing in response and did not respond to follow-up calls and text messages. Through a Project Veritas spokesman, Strack later released a statement on behalf of the organization. Like all newsrooms at this stage, the Project Veritas board of directors and management are constantly evaluating what the best path forward is for their organization. The statement read in part, it did not directly address questions about James O'Keefe's employment status. There are 65 plus employees at Project Veritas dedicated to continuing the mission to expose corruption, dishonesty, waste, fraud, and other misconduct in both public and private situations. The statement read, to our supporters, we hear you, we care about you, and we will never give up. So here's the one thing that I will bring it to you guys with the whole Project Veritas thing right here, because it brings a lot more kind of initiative what they say. So this is pretty much the full statement here with Project Veritas. Again, this time I will remember to blow this up for everyone. So it says, Project Veritas official statement. Project Veritas has achieved immense growth and impact during the last 3 years, all thanks to James O'Keefe, which you seem to not have him in here. Like all newsrooms at this stage, the Project Veritas board of directors and management are constantly evaluating what the best path forward is for the organization. The board and management are continuing this internal evaluation to assure our long-term success. Project Veritas will never stop and it will never let our supporters down. You already have. There are 65 plus employees at Project Veritas dedicated to continuing the mission to expose corruption, dishonesty, waste, fraud, and other misconduct in both public and private institutions. To our supporters, we hear you, we care about you, and we will never give up. So that's the case that's going on right here. And obviously from Project Veritas it says, despite what the corporate media tries to portray about our organization, know this. We have never been more motivated and dedicated to our mission than now. This is an official statement from Project Veritas. Now, so what we're seeing here is that if this does go through, then I am hoping that all those journalists and or / employees will move to James O'Keefe, because that seems to be the best course of action. That would completely collapse Project Veritas and everything that they have. If the journalists I would honestly say, have anything to hold dear, then they would immediately leave. James O'Keefe starts his own company completely independent, which I think he already did, but without these board of directors, and see exactly what goes on. Because what I'm seeing here is that this is some form of corruption or co-op or whatever, and I'm not liking it. We'll wait to see what happens, but never know. Well, it goes on to say O'Keefe is his organization's guiding ideological force and on-screen face, but his status as its day-to-day manager has become uncertain and made reports of internal turmoil. Lawsuits from former employees, leaks about its internal workings, and a federal investigation into his conduct of purchasing a diary stolen from Ashley Biden, the president's daughter. Strack's internal message to employees made reference to what he called a distracting time, and said that a board meeting had been held to discuss the health of the organization, and that while we have not come up with the final solutions yet, we have made a few immediate decisions. The message said two top Project Veritas executives, including the nonprofit's chief financial officer, have been reinstated. Multiple sources said that the pair had recently been fired by O'Keefe. A meeting of the Project Veritas board is scheduled for Friday, when O'Keefe's potential removal is set to be discussed. According to one source familiar with the matter, the source said that Project Veritas was currently divided between two groups of employees who are perceived to be loyal to O'Keefe, including his communication advisor R.C. Maxwell, and the board, which has been dissatisfied with what perceives as O'Keefe's management, which would happen to be these people right here. These are the board members. I don't know why there are essentially two type of organizations, or two two separate orgs within this organization or 2 people. That is completely insanity, and that shouldn't be a thing. There should only really just be one. I don't know why there's multiple. So somebody in the comments can obviously let me know on how this type of organization or this company stuff works. I'd be more likely to be informed on this. I am not the best person when it comes to organizations like this, so comments down below would be grateful. I like to learn more. So it goes on to say with this, I just said I was walking into a meeting and this was not appropriate time. What don't you understand about that? He did not respond to subsequent phone calls to other board members and not respond to phone messages. As rumors of O'Keefe's potential ouster circulated among his friends and enemies on Wednesday, his usually pernicious Twitter and Instagram accounts were silent. Project Veritas continued to promote the organization's latest stings, including a series of hidden camera videos that captured a Pfizer scientist discussing what Project Veritas described as a dangerous gain of functions research related to COVID vaccines. Pfizer has not conducted gain of function or direct evolution research by the pharmaceutical company, responded in a statement after the videos appeared. One video in the series accumulated in a physical altercation between O'Keefe and the Pfizer employee. In another video posted in late January, James O'Keefe accosted an investigative reporter for the New York Times, Adam Goldman, whose byline has appeared on multiple stories about the Biden diary case. Look at how scared he is, O'Keefe says in the videos as Goldman holds up an iPhone to record their altercation. I'm an investigative reporter unlike you. You're a government stooge, O'Keefe says, and tauntingly calls Goldman a punk and a fed boy. From Goldman's side of the camera, O'Keefe looks even more hostile. Even as O'Keefe continued his confrontational act, long-standing infighting at the Project Veritas headquarters in Monarch was coming to a head. Over the dozens of years since he founded the nonprofit in a carriage house behind his parents' home in the suburban Westwood, New Jersey, the group has grown from a short-string YouTube prank operation into a large, ideology-driven news organization with an annual operating budget of more than $20 million. But former employees describe O'Keefe as an erratic and an often angry boss. According to a letter dated February 6, which was circulated by Project Veritas staff who were critical of O'Keefe management, he berated and fired the organization's CFO, Tom Hara, and its chief strategy officer, Barry Hinckley. Hinckley later wrote a message to the staff saying he had stood up to a bully and had lost his job as a result. The letter included an 11-page list of testimonials from Monarch's current employees, describing O'Keefe in the words of one, as a power-drunk tyrant. Even many of O'Keefe's enemies wondered, however, if this organization could survive without him as its leader. Quite frankly, he's the company, one former employee said. This is a developing story, and yeah, I agree. It has a lot to be said. And of course, when you have somebody like this, where you have this why he would have these people removed, or fired is quite obvious. When you have him in your bios, there's obviously a tip. There's something probably going on here. So I probably would honestly believe James O'Keefe over this. They're trying to blame him for something that he most likely and definitely did not do, and I think there's something going on here. And we'll wait to see what happens and what ends up with the story. I'll definitely keep up to date with it as much as possible. So until then, guys, like, subscribe, share, and as always, take care.